We have some breaking news tonight as well. A federal court judge has now ruled a recent ICE arrest of an immigrant inside his Minneapolis home did violate his constitutional rights.
Search warrant. Step outside, sir. Step outside, sir. Step outside, sir. Keep your hands up when we can see them.
Today, we are here in New York to announce a historic arrest across a wide-sweeping criminal enterprise that envelops both the NBA and La Casa Nostra.
Under the floorboards of a Minneapolis judge's lakeside mansion, federal agents found $85 million in gold bullion, not hidden in a vault, not locked in a safe, buried beneath the hardwood of his master bedroom like buried treasure in a pirate's lair. This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an inheritance. This was payment. Payment for years of judicial protection given to one of the most dangerous criminal networks ever to operate on American soil. The same network that funneled $250 million through a fake nonprofit. The same network that armed militants overseas and planned domestic terror attacks. And the man who made it all possible wore a black robe, sat behind a bench, and sentenced criminals to prison while he collected their money at night. He sentenced thieves in the morning and became one at night. At exactly 5:22 a.m. on a gray March morning, the surface of Lake Minnetonka was perfectly still. Mist hovered over the water like a held breath, and on the western shore, behind 10-foot stone walls and manicured hedges, sat one of the most expensive properties in Minnesota, a sprawling estate. 8,000 square feet of European architecture, imported Italian marble, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the lake, a 5-car garage housing a Bentley, a Range Rover, and a vintage Porsche. This was the home of federal judge Vincent Caldwell, a man who had built a reputation as a no-nonsense jurist, tough on crime, defender of the rule of law, a champion of justice in the courtroom. But this morning, justice was coming for him. 50 federal agents assembled in silence along the tree line, FBI, ICE, DHS, ATF. They moved through the pre-dawn darkness in coordinated formation, their breath visible in cold air. They wore tactical black, body armor, night vision goggles, and they carried battering rams, bolt cutters, and flashbangs. The operation commander, a senior FBI agent named Marcus Reyes, stood near the command vehicle parked half a mile down the access road. On the screen in front of him, thermal imaging showed 3 heat signatures inside the house. 1 in the master bedroom, 2 in the kitchen, private security armed, alert. This wasn't going to be a quiet entry. Reyes gave the order. Breach in 60 seconds. All units, go. The agents moved fast. They scaled the stone walls. They cut through the security gate. They surrounded the house from all sides. And at exactly 5:27 a.m., the lead team reached the front entrance. Our massive mahogany double doors, custom carved, imported from Spain, worth more than most people's cars. The battering ram swung back, then forward. The doors exploded inward with a crack that echoed across the water. Glass shattered. Alarms screamed. Flashbangs detonated inside the foyer with blinding white light and concussive force that rattled the crystal chandelier hanging from the vaulted ceiling. The agents poured in, boots on marble, loud, heavy, the sound of force meeting luxury. They moved through rooms that looked like they belonged in a European palace. Oil paintings in gilded frames, Persian rugs, leather furniture that cost more than the agents made in a year. The kitchen was spotless. Granite countertops, wolf range, Sub-Zero refrigerator stocked with champagne and imported cheeses. One private guard was found near the back staircase, hands up, unarmed, already surrendering. The other was cuffed in the garage, standing beside a Bentley Continental worth $250,000. But the target wasn't downstairs. He was in the master bedroom. And when the tactical team kicked open that door, they found Judge Vincent Caldwell sitting calmly on the edge of his California king bed, wearing silk pajamas and Italian leather slippers. He didn't flinch, didn't shout, didn't reach for anything. He just looked at them with the same cold, measured expression he wore in the courtroom, like this was an inconvenience, not a catastrophe. "Hands where we can see them," one agent barked. Caldwell raised his hand slowly. No fear, no panic, just the confidence of a man who believed he was above consequences, who had been above them for years. While the bedroom team secured Caldwell, the search teams fanned out through the rest of the estate. And that's when the real discovery began. In the private office on the second floor, agents found a wall safe hidden behind a Monet print worth $3 million. They cracked it open. Inside, stacks of cash. $100 bills bundled in plastic wrap. $50,000 per bundle. 20 bundles. $1 million just sitting there like petty cash. But that wasn't all. They found passports. 4 of them. All with Caldwell's photo. All with different names. Escape routes. Backup identities. The tools of a man who knew the walls might close in one day. In the wine cellar, temperature-controlled and stocked with bottles that cost more than most people's monthly rent, agents found designer luggage. But Louis Vuitton, Gucci, Hermes. They unzipped the cases. More cash. Bundles and bundles of it. Another $2 million, stacked like laundry. And beside the luggage, a leather briefcase. Inside, documents, legal files, case numbers, names, photographs, and every single one of them tied back to the Somali network. The same network from the nonprofit raid, the same network from the bunker operation. Arrest warrants that had been dismissed, evidence logs that had been sealed, witness testimonies that had been suppressed, all by Judge Caldwell's hand. One agent held up a photograph. It showed Caldwell shaking hands with Ahmed Khalid Osman, the CEO of the fake nonprofit. They were standing in front of a private jet, smiling, relaxed, like old friends. On the back of the photo, a handwritten note, Lagos delivery confirmed. Outward next phase approved. This wasn't judicial oversight. This was collaboration. Caldwell wasn't just protecting the network. He was part of it. The smell in that cellar was distinct. Aged wood, expensive leather, and underneath it all, something sharper. Cigar smoke. Cuban cigars, illegal in the US, but freely enjoyed by a man who clearly believed the law didn't apply to him. On a side table near the wine racks sat an ashtray, still warm, a half-smoked cohiba resting in the groove. He'd been down here recently, celebrating something, or preparing to run. But the most damning evidence wasn't in the cellar. It was upstairs, in the library, a room lined floor to ceiling with leather-bound law books, first editions, legal history, a shrine to the justice system he'd spent years corrupting. Agents moved through the room carefully, scanning for anything out of place. And that's when one of them noticed it. A section of the hardwood floor near the window. The boards didn't sit flush. There was a gap, barely visible, but enough. He knelt down, tapped the wood with his knuckles, hollow. He called for a crowbar. Another agent brought one over. They wedged it under the edge of the floorboard and pried. The wood creaked, then gave. The board lifted, and beneath it, instead of insulation or subflooring, there was a cavity, a hidden compartment, lined with steel, and inside, stacked in perfect rows, were gold bars. The agent's flashlight beam hit the surface of the first bar. It gleamed, pure, heavy, stamped with serial numbers and mint marks, Swiss, Canadian, South African. Each bar weighed about 25 pounds. There were dozens of them. The agent started pulling them out, one by one. The thud of gold hitting the library floor echoed through the mansion. Heavy, final, undeniable. They counted. 20 bars, 30, 40, 50. Each one worth over $60,000. And beneath the gold, bundles of cash, rare coins in velvet cases, diamonds in small leather pouches. This wasn't a hiding spot. This was a treasure hoard. By the time they finished, the total was staggering. $85 million in gold bullion, cash, and precious stones. All of it untraceable. All of it hidden beneath the floor of a federal judge's private library. The same judge who had dismissed charges against cartel operatives, who had sealed evidence in terrorism investigations, who had buried cases that could have stopped the network years ago. And for every case he killed, he was paid. Not in gold, in cash, in assets that couldn't be tracked by banks or auditors. He was the protector, the fixer, the man who made the network untouchable. Downstairs, agents escorted Judge Caldwell out of his bedroom. He was no longer in silk pajamas. They'd given him time to dress. He wore a tailored navy suit, Italian leather shoes, a Rolex on his wrist. Even in custody, he looked like a man of power. But the handcuffs told a different story. As they walked him through his own home, past the shattered front doors and the agents cataloging evidence, his expression never changed. Cold, detached, arrogant, like this was all a formality, like his lawyers would have him out by lunch. They led him outside. The sun was starting to rise over the lake. The mist was clearing, and standing on the perfectly manicured lawn were his neighbors. Wealthy people, executive, doctors, lawyers, people who lived in the same tax bracket, and they watched in silence as one of their own was walked to a federal vehicle in handcuffs. The humiliation was absolute. The fall from grace, complete. A federal agent read him his rights. Caldwell listened without reaction, and when the agent finished, Caldwell finally spoke. His voice was calm, almost amused. "You think this changes anything?" he said. "You think I'm the only one?" The agent didn't respond. He just opened the door to the vehicle and guided Caldwell inside. The door slammed shut, and the car pulled away, leaving behind a mansion full of evidence, a lakeside estate now a crime scene, and a legacy shattered beyond repair. Inside the house, forensic teams moved methodically. They photographed every room, cataloged every asset, and traced every connection. The gold bars were loaded into evidence containers. The cash was counted. The documents were scanned and encrypted. And slowly, the full picture emerged. Judge Vincent Caldwell had been on the network's payroll for at least 8 years. He had dismissed over 30 cases tied to the Somali ring. He had suppressed evidence in 12 federal investigations. He had sealed witness testimony that could have exposed the operation years earlier. And in exchange, he was paid in gold, in cash, in luxury, in the lifestyle of a king, built on the suffering of the people he swore to protect. But Caldwell wasn't alone. The documents found in his office pointed to others. Lawyers who filed motions on behalf of the network, prosecutors who looked the other way, court clerks who buried paperwork. This wasn't one bad judge. This was systemic corruption, a network within the system designed to protect a network outside it, and the gold beneath the floorboards was just the tip of the iceberg. By mid-morning, news helicopters circled overhead. Local media reported that a federal judge had been arrested. National outlets picked up the story within hours. The headlines were brutal. Judge arrested in corruption probe. Federal official tied to terror network. Gold found beneath judge's floor. The public was stunned. The legal community was in shock. And across Minnesota, people started asking the same question. If a federal judge could be bought, who else was compromised? The answer, investigators knew, was darker than anyone wanted to admit. Because Caldwell had connections, political connections, legal connections, and financial connections that stretched into city halls, state legislatures, and federal offices. The network didn't just buy one judge. They bought access. They bought protection. They bought silence. And they did it with gold, cash, and the promise of wealth beyond accountability. This story is a warning, a reminder that corruption doesn't always announce itself with violence or chaos. Sometimes it hides behind respectability, behind a title, behind a robe and a gavel. Judge Vincent Caldwell sat in a courtroom and dispensed justice to others while he collected millions in bribes. He sentenced thieves while he stole. He jailed criminals while he enabled them. And he did it all from a mansion on a lake, surrounded by luxury paid for with blood money. We stopped him today. We tore up his floorboards. We seized his gold. And we arrested him in his own home. But how many others are still out there? How many judges, prosecutors, and officials are still protecting networks like this? How many cases are still being buried? How many investigations are still being killed? The answer is out there, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be found. If you believe the courts need to be cleaned up, if you think corruption at this level demands accountability, comment "justice" below. Share this story. Make sure people know that the system can be bought, and that it's our job to demand it be fixed. This is a fictional dramatization, but the lessons are real, because somewhere, right now, another judge is making another call. Another case is being dismissed, another criminal is walking free, and another fortune is being hidden beneath the floor. Don't let them. Keep watching. Keep questioning, and keep demanding justice.